Patriot is a boss that confuses a lot of people. Some players understand him, many others don't. And since no one ever made a video breaking down boss details before, I thought it would be great to start one. To first mention, Patriot's a boss that's pretty significant in Arknights history, not just in terms of storyline, but rather game design wise. When you look across the first year of Arknights, bosses back then were rather straightforward, without having too much monstrous stats. Usually low defense, making typical physical damage dealers very viable. Half-phase bosses were more common, instead of the usual double or triple phases that we see today. But in the first year, Patriot came along and changed up the future line of bosses. You see, Patriot's the first boss with S defense and S resistance. If you still play this game without understanding these two things, I'll explain this quickly. The actual damage an enemy takes is your operator's attack minus their defense. If the defense is too high or the attack is too low, your operators will deal 5% of their attack, what we call minimum damage. Resistance blocks arts damage. It will cut away a percentage of your arts damage dealer's attack. Now, we look at Patriot, who has S defense and S resistance. What the heck is S defense? Hyperglyph, it's been 3 years of this game and 4 years in CN, you still don't want to give numbers for the stats? What the f— Until the day Hyperglyph learns basic numeracy, you can refer to GamePress, A-Ship, Arknights Fandom, PRTS Wiki, Map Arknights, and many more websites for stats. So Patriot has 2100 defense and 90 resistance within his first phase. Because of his high stats, most players' first time experience looks like this. After you realize you can't kill him, maybe your bright brain thinks, let's stall him. And then your best defender dies. The whole attack mechanism applies to your allies, by the way. Patriot has 2700 attack. My Hoshiguma has a little over 1000 defense. So correctly speaking, she should survive. But Patriot hits 4 times in one attack. So I'm reporting Patriot. And then you watch some videos. You think a little harder and you realize the mines deal true damage. Perfect, you line them up and you score a Patriot first phase kill. And then you go into hard mode and you realize there are no mines for you to use. If you're a guide follower, you'd resort to Amiya's true damage. But what if you didn't have Amiya built back then? In the past, there were 2 other operators who could tackle Patriot alone. They were Schwartz and Skadi. But people didn't know that, because most players just went, there's a Silver Ash and an Air Fiela. Who cares about Schwartz? She fucking short range. Schwartz has a really high attack. When her skill tree is on, she gains an additional 180%. Her talent also gains even more. So that means... you want me to calculate Schwartz attack? Can I calculate? 980 plus 180%. 180. 1000. Mate, just turn on her skill and look at the numbers. And there you go. The Arknights calculator. So now you got her attack, and then you subtract the defense of Patriot, and you get... I cannot do math. See the red numbers? Again, the Arknights calculator. But what if you didn't have Schwartz back then? Certain didn't exist yet, so how did players tackle it? This brings me back to why I describe Patriot as a significant boss in Arknights history, because it pushed people to understand about buffers and debuffers. Buffers increase attack, debuffers lower defense, resistance, or both. Their purpose is so that you can surpass the stats of the enemies. Examples can include Warframe or Ark, who buffs attack, Ifrit, who lowers resistance, Elysium, who lowers defense, who by the way coincidentally appeared during the Chapter 7 release banner, and Premonics, who lowers both defense and resistance. Nowadays we got even more sweeter options like Shemare, Suzerain, Skadi Outer, and Gnosis. However, buffers and debuffers were really unpopular back in the days, maybe even now. The reason was that you've got 12 operators in your squad. Taking one or more of such operators already takes up valuable space. I mean, look at her, she literally just spins around. Hence, this is why Patriot incited a great shift in the playstyles among some of the players. If you choose to build some buffers and debuffers in your account, you can essentially move into 2 distinct playstyles of Arknights: art-centric or physical-centric. These are not the only playstyles. There are others, like faction-centric, true-centric, or store-centric, but these two can be the starting bases. This video can essentially encourage some of you to adopt one of those playstyles, so as to improve your time in Arknights. If you go by the arts route, you might use your personal favorites like Airfiela, Surtur, Saria, and Ifrit, maybe sprinkled in the suzerain. If you go by the physical route, maybe you'd use a Silver Ash, Shenmei, Schwartz, we've got Pozionka now by the way, and of course an extra suzerain. Buffers and debuffers are also accessible to new players. Haze lowers resistance, Meteor lowers defense, so you can build them to Elite 1 or even Elite 2 to cover your lack of buffers and debuffers. A special mention I must give in this video is for Axio. In the past, Axio was considered one of the strongest 6 stars in the game, but that was because a lot of the bosses back then had very low defense. Nowadays, the bosses are clocking above 1000 defense, making Axio do nothing against them. But with buffers and debuffers in play, Axio can still remain as one of your favorite boss killers ever in the game, as long as you give Axio the package that she needs. For example, having a Warfrin, Shenmei, or an Elysium with her. This will make Axio still one of the most powerful operators in the game. So with you understanding about the 2 basic playstyles, it's up to you to choose what you prefer. Of course, if you own a lot of operators and build them as well, you'll not need to restrict yourself to one. But if you're just starting out, pick up the arts or physical route first, and then you'll be able to tackle tough bosses of the game, like Patriot and the later counterparts, Big Ugly, Free, Blood Knight, so on and so forth. Since this video is covering about Patriot, I should also describe his phase 2. His defense and resistance will fall to much lower amounts during his second phase, so no need for buffers and debuffers. But he packs a special ability that is a spear from the sky, striking your range operators. The way he prioritizes is the furthest range operator away from him. This is by counting the tile distance. However, if an operator is diagonally across him, you'd probably need to Pythagoras theorem the tiles to figure out what's the distance. But this is also why you see someone like 12F used in this stage, praying hard that he will dodge the spear. This action is what we call baiting, which is a concept I may discuss more in a future video. Should I cover more videos to teach people the various playstyles in Arknights? Want to know more about bosses or even specific operators? Let me know down in the comments. And please subscribe to my channel so I know you're loving my videos. Take care, bye bye. Now I know how to calculate already. 980 plus 180%, 100,000